And I wonder if it's just going to be one of those scenarios where it's kind of flip-flopping between the two. You have a good tournament, a bad tournament, a good tournament, a bad tournament. If you want a bad tournament before Worlds so you can have a good one, I don't blame you.
That is very true. I do, although, with that, devil's advocate I'm playing here, is the fact that I'm not really seeing that same kind of lackluster Space Station gaming that we did see in London. That's the other thing. I just think they had a blooming good series against Optic Gaming, and it just didn't work out for them this time around. And we often do see that, kind of the tussle between the Titans, and it really is like squeaky bum time, right? You just got to try and edge it out. It's a moment, a decision, a play, a kill, often. And that seems to happen. When we're looking right now at the series layout for both of these teams, tell you what, rather than going to just one person, anybody seeing anything here for either?
Tony, you want to go first or shall I?
I mean, it's going to be tough no matter what. Like, you know, obviously that StelluR StelluR right now, Cloud9 are 0-3 on that mapping game type combination. You know, the StelluR Livefire doesn't fare well towards them. And honestly, even the King of the Hill Livefire in the beginning is going to be tough. But one thing Cloud9 are very good at is map number ones. They usually start off really well. And even though SSG are good on Livefire, their King of the Hill Livefire only a 50% win rate. So that game number one, that sets the tone. That sets the pace. Let's see what you got, Cloud9. This is everything for you.
Yeah, King of the Hill Livefire is definitely their worst King of the Hill, and I think that if SSG are caught off guard here in this first game, Cloud9 will be able to roll with that momentum. But you mentioned it, the StelluR Solitude is a big worry for me, because when you look at win rates, when you look at 0%, you look at 100%, you look at who they've been playing against, I mean, Cloud9 have lost this against some teams who maybe they could have beaten as well. It's not always been the biggest and best teams that they've faced here. So that's my worry, is going to be the second map.
Yeah, that StelluR Solitude, I mean, I think everybody and their parents know that it's Space Station Gaming's bread and butter.
Yeah.
They know how good they are on it. I'm just kind of curious, Shows, why are they so good? What is it about Solitude StelluR that really allows that team to come to life?
Well, I think it's the pace that they play at, being able to manipulate spawns, having players in the right positions, and being able to spawn trap. Particularly, they're one of the best teams at putting their opposing teams into blue spawn and just picking them off as they try and leave that space. They're very good at suffocating teams and putting them in the positions that they want. And then you talk about picking up power-ups and power weapons. Well, you get the sniper rifle in the StelluR's hands and you just know he's going to start cooking. So they have to shut down big game players here, do Cloud9, and I just don't think they're ready yet.
Yeah, I think that first map is crucial for Cloud9. The next two that follow, just not great. I mean, CTF Aquarius, we're talking about StelluR Solitude and it being in SSG's favor. That Aquarius CTF's also just unbelievable for Space Station Gaming. They are clean on that this season. That's an incredible stat, considering how much we do see them play that with the likes of Optic Gaming and FaZe. It's a lot. So yeah, that's a really, really scary statistic. Cloud9 need to show up map one. Have they got what it takes? We're going to be finding out right now, because we're heading over to main stage and our two wonderful casters, Shuzzy and Gaskin.
Thanks so much. Really looking forward to jumping into this one, Dan. Space Station, like we spoke about in the pre-ramble, in a position where they don't often find themselves in the elimination bracket nice and early, but that makes them a very scary opposition for anybody that they're going to run into, because they'll be looking to run over anybody that stands in their way. And unfortunately, it's going to be Cloud9.
Yeah, I feel a little bit bad because I'm not giving Cloud9 much hope here in this series, but I sometimes have to call a spade a spade. I will change my mind if Cloud9 come out hot and win this first map. Maybe they can do something like Alpha Esports have done elsewhere, right? Beating that underdog and still finding a victory through, but it is going to be a very difficult series for them.
People have been breaking the stat sheets all weekend long. This is the opportunity for Cloud9 to do just that, and they will need to. They're playing against the defending champions from Atlanta. They've got it all to do, and Space Station will be cooking. Shields up, weapons hot, we're underway.
If you can get an early start here, if you can go off the back of a disappointing Game 5 from SSG, maybe Cloud9 can wrestle some control in the early stages and get this first hill on the board, but looking at the pace of play from SSG, they like throwing themselves at their opponents. When they feel they're the better team, they are always so quick to get in the face of their opposition.
That pace they play at, so impressive. And that man on your screen, StelluR, he's got the sniper rifle, and that's going to be a tough task for anybody to be up against. Spector's got camouflage, so perhaps there is a counterplay to this. Can he get behind StelluR? He's going to be hearing shots get rattled off. Information will be passed to him. He has to make the right decision, though. Gets one, gets two. Sniper rifle down. It's a null factor now. But unfortunately for them, Space Station have got so much time in this first hill.
Well, it's back and forth. Can't really decide which way to go, and I think it may just be accepting your fate and accepting this first point is going to go to SSG. So a pretty easy and comfortable first hill, that's for sure. SSG certainly the best King of the Hill team that we have in the league in terms of the amount of wins they have. but this arguably one of their weaker ones. And maybe that's just because of the pace of play. Some teams have been able to slow it down a little bit, get those setups, and SSG have struggled to break at times, but SSG seem to be the one who are setting up here, so they don't really have to worry about it.
Spector's always one of those players that's impressive to watch. He never fails to get kills. That is his job. And he does so with no fuss, no complaints. The issue that he has had throughout Halo Infinite is just finding a team that complements his playstyle the best. And has he found that in Cloud9? Can they grow in confidence with a few more LAN reps under their belt? 3 dead now for Spacestation, and Cloud9 can start scoring in the second hill.
I think Cloud9 will be quite frustrated to be in this matchup as well. I'm sure there's a handful of teams they would have loved to have seen in this position to have a stab at. You've also got to remember that the reason they find themselves in this position because they went 1 and 2 in their pool, and they weren't able to get into those top 2 positions to find themselves in the winners bracket. So you are almost guaranteed a tough matchup here, but maybe not this tough. But they are at least doing a little bit better here in this second hill, and they're ahead for now.
Probably haven't maximized as much time in the hill as they would have liked. But Spector continues to get kills. That will create openings. He does eventually get cut down. Nico pushing over towards the tower now with that camouflage. Eyes trained over top middle, sees it clear, will pass the information over. They know that's a lane they don't have to watch for now. Unfortunately, 2 members of his team have fallen. Spector's going to push forward. Eco's going to play this one patiently. Back whack as easy as you like. Playing behind enemy lines. Getting in the face of Sab now, who tries to jiggle peek his way into this fight. Eco's going to back down and stay alive, prioritize just keeping map control here, and Sab will get taken care of.
Yeah, notice how SSG are not desperate to throw themselves into the hill. They're waiting until they've actually got a good amount of control. You're very vulnerable when you're in that hill. Grenades can come out of nowhere, put you down to no shields, and suddenly then that push can come through. In terms of slays, SSG still behind at the moment. Cloud9 leading by 3 kills here. So at least Cloud9 are staying within SSG when it comes to those slays.
Problem you have. SSG's has got the snipe. Finds the face of 1. Rolls up top middle. The body's good enough for 2. Sceptify does not dare peek, and with good reason, because he would have lost his face. 2-0 the score. Cloud9 give this one up too.
Yeah, quite intelligent not to peek the sniper rifle, but of course by doing that you are definitely giving up the hill at the same time, but it's about setting up for the next one here for Cloud9. They had the opportunity in the second hill to set up, to get good time, but you mentioned it, they maybe didn't get as much as they could have. And that might be a bit frustrating for them. So now they need to learn that lesson here in this third hill and actually get some good time on the board when they have the control.
Sab gets 1, faced with 2 members of SSG though. Ultimately forced down bottom middle towards the rat cave. There's trades elsewhere. Numbers favoring Cloud9 right now, and that's why they have control of the hill. Bound tries to turn the tide in that fight. Double kill for Sab. Wisely backs away, knew he was down in the fight, but Lqgend chases, Lqgend secures the kill. Cloud9 know this is much better.
I mean, it's an interesting decision to back off like that because it's something that SSG don't do. Even if they're down in the fight, they output as much damage as possible so that the rest of the team can clean up. Maybe Sab just thought he could get out of dodge using the avenue of the toilet. But he is back off the spawn and is putting up more damage, more kills. He's up to 13, so he's certainly being one of the better players on C9 right now.
StelluR caught unaware on sandbags. Eco fresh off the spawn's gonna go down as well. Lqgend down to no shields. Sab gets close. And him and Manny combined to get the kill. This is gonna be a camouflage and some more hill time for them. They're making plays here. They're getting themselves back into this game.
And unless we see a successful push here, it should be 2-1. Cloud9 should be able to score this one. Sab just needs to make sure he stays alive with this camouflage because it's going to be a lot riding on him. Just as all these nades are flooding in. And actually, he's going to use this camo just to get that final little bit of time. And even with Bound diving in, it's not going to be enough. So Cloud9 put 1 on the board. And they asked the question to SSG. They say, actually, can you hold on to this lead?
Interestingly enough, SSG send Bound in just to be a little bit of a disruptor whilst the remaining team rotate towards the new hill. Maybe Bound being used as a little bit of a decoy so they can get priority position. StelluR's in the hill with a plasma pistol as well to play with in his back pocket if he needs it. Facing a little bit of competition for the hill though. StelluR will go down, but he gets a trade in the end. Cloud9 now have control of the hill. 2 members down. Bound and Legend on the map. Playing this one patiently, waiting for the teammates to spawn up.
It's one of the few game types across the board that Bound isn't positive in. When it comes to his season's performance so far, he's actually dead even. 120 kills, 120 deaths. When it comes to Live Fire King of the Hill. And at the moment, he's negative in this game as well. Just, for some reason, there's something about King of the Hill here on Live Fire that Spacestation struggle with at times. And I think it's they want to play a little bit faster. They don't like being held back, don't like having to hold the point. They almost want to play strongholds instead.
Spacestation do love holding forward. Perhaps King of the Hill doesn't suit them in that regard. It's not their playstyle. It's not the way they like to do things. StelluR's going to control top tower. Sceptify immediately applies pressure. Manny's going to close the distance, try to get the kill, but Lqgend was there just to keep StelluR alive. Eventually a grenade will find him. But Cloud9 could be about to tie this game up if they play this one perfectly. Sab has got to win this 1v1 though, and it's up against Eco, one of the most experienced players in the league. Sab continues to fight and does win it.
Enemy team took the hill.
And SSG right now being outslayed by about 10. 1 minute left on the clock. Cloud9 looking the more likely to close in to tie up this game, but SSG are going in with brute force just to try and take any skirmish that they can to try and delay Cloud9's chances of getting into this hill.
SSG are just, they're bullies at time. You don't want to have lunch money or any spare change jingling around in your pockets because they will turn you upside down and take it. Do not give them any opportunity to capitalize on mistakes because they will make you pay. Manny's in the hill though with a teammate. They're going to secure this second hill. They're going to tie up this game. This is good from Cloud9.
Well, just like that. I mean, Cloud9 right back into this game. 50 seconds left, so we're more than likely going to end on this hill. And it is top middle, and we know how crazy these top middle hills can be. You're going to get bombarded with grenades. People are going to full send it every time off spawn once they start to get a little bit desperate. But tower controls everything, and Cloud9 do have the tower side.
Interesting to see, will Spacestation try and take the fight over top middle or prioritize getting control of that tower? Thus is its importance in the setup. Manny's gone down. Sab will answer back with the reply onto Lqgend. Bound will fall as well. Now StelluR's over towards sandbags now. He's going to try and delay as much as he can, waiting for his teammates to spawn back up. Manny will step in and start to score. SSG are in trouble of letting this one slip.
What a series has been already from Sab by the 24 kills, 12 deaths. And he has been really the leading charge for Cloud9 in this game. And I feel like SSG, a little bit of a hangover still from that previous series.
Sab continues to try and anchor tower side. Eco caught reloading his gun, not ready for the fight. Sabinator will choose that and chew it up. Meat and drink to him. The freest kill he's gonna get. Gets a trade with Lqgend. And you can see SSG are trying to prioritize securing the tower. Unfortunately, it's Cloud9 that have the advantage in the hill. Spspector continues to try and slay out and do damage just to keep them out of the hill. But Eco, he's in there, as is StelluR. Cloud9 collapsed. Cloud9's push is successful. And they will continue to score then.
And they're so close to securing this one. And it could be the game right here, right now for Cloud9 as well. 19 seconds left on the clock, and they do take the lead. So SSG, their backs are well and truly against the wall now. And they've really got to try their best to hold on to green.
It's got to be perfect. The old cliche, perfect halo. They've got to keep a man inside that hill, because if they get fresh four dead, the amount of time it's going to take them to spawn back up and get close to the hill whilst also slaying, it's an impossible task. Spspector's in green, being a nuisance. Manny's over towards Nest, he will fall. Spacestation do this from time to time. They like to make it difficult for themselves.
Yeah, 3 were dead then for C9. One last push for Cloud9 to try and win the game here and stop SSG, but SSG have had a flawless hold so far, and Bound's going to be a nuisance here behind enemy lines, but there's the opening they needed.
Eco fighting with backs to the wall. Grenades go down. Bound and Lqgend are in the respawn screen. Eco's all alone. He needs help. He's not going to get it.
10 seconds.
Sab's going to push towards sandbags. They're going to hold out and wait for the push. Lqgend's going to come big door, waiting for some damage. Grenade goes down. Nothing doing. Bound tries to get close. He doesn't get there. And Cloud9 take the lead.
Cloud9 managed to find a victory. Hello, by the way. And I wonder, are SSG just feeling it a little bit from that previous series where they gave everything against Optic Gaming? We did allude to it being one of their weaker maps and modes, so it's not panic stations just yet for Spacestation fans. But for Cloud9, that is the confidence that they needed. The perfect start to say, actually, we are in this series. We may be the underdogs, but they have so much on the line here. Of course, this is a Worlds qualification match as well. And what a moment that could be for them if they were not only able to secure Worlds qualification, but beat the reigning champions. But that is a long way away yet as we look back at some of the highlights.
And one thing you can be sure about these two teams in this particular moment, Dan, is you know Cloud9 want this win far more than SSG do. Cloud9 need it far more than SSG do. They've already had the prestige of winning tournaments. Of course, it would be a miserable old time to be dumped out of the competition at this stage. But for Cloud9, what a statement of intent it would be to take down one of the big dogs.
Yeah, look at Sab, 28 kills in the end. Look what it means to them. Fist bumps all around, but you've also got to keep your head on a swivel. You've got to make sure that you are focused here. But as we move into match 2, what do Cloud9 have? Because SSG are going to come back with a bang here. It is StelluR Solitude. We mentioned it right at the start. It is one of the better maps and modes for SSG. But we have yet to see Cloud9 win, but they've made changes. zMannny is now in the roster. zMannny is now the man who maybe can be the difference maker when it comes to this map and mode.
And just how important is it for Cloud9 now to keep their feet on the ground? They've beaten them in map number 1.
Is that a pun?
It was.
Okay.
Yeah. Clouds and feet on the ground, you see?
Gotcha.
Now, StelluR Solitude, of course, we know how good SSG are at it. But for them, they've won game 1, you're riding high, the adrenaline's rushing through your blood, your bones, and wherever else it needs to go.
Hold on.
Not that one, though.
Okay.
Cloud9 have got to keep their head on a swivel, like you say, keep themselves level-headed. The job's not done yet. It's far from done.
I almost want them not to be I want them to keep up the momentum. I want them to be a little bit crazy. I want them to feel the energy and ride this into match number 2, because in StelluR Solitude it can be very hectic. And I want the comms to be as hectic. I want them to be screaming at each other so that they are feeling everything. And maybe they can just say to SSG, hey, we are good enough to take you down. Because you know full well SSG will want to, slow this series down a little bit, take the momentum out of Cloud9. But at the same time, SSG love playing fast. They love getting in your face. They love having that player just flying around the corner. And if Cloud9 can match that energy, take that fight to them with the way they were slaying in that game, there's no reason why they can't win this map too.
Well, Spacestation coming off the grueler of a game 5 against Optic. Defeat they tasted there. And the rain cloud looms large above them here. Down in game 1. Can they bounce back here in game 2?
And quite rightly, we start with Sab after that performance in game 1. He was not missing. And he's already going to start off with a potential double here. Just gets the assistance from the rest of the team, and now we're going to see already a little bit of map control for Cloud9. They're 4-2 up as they fight tooth and nail for this camo.
The opening break's so important on this map. If you get it, you get some semblance of control, you can really start to punish your opposition. StelluR's going to back Sab up. Smartly played, not going to give up an easy death. Grenades are going to follow him though, and he cannot evade them. Bound and StelluR combined to pick up a couple of kills, and Cloud9's lead cut to just 2.
And you really need to look to the likes of StelluR, the likes of Lqgend in a game like this to be the ones to step up and shut down those Cloud9 members that are finding their way behind you and being able to put the damage in. Ear to the ground and make sure that no one escapes, because usually SSG are one of those teams that are so good at finishing off kills and not allowing that one player to escape.
One man that continues to escape, be a nuisance, is Sab. Again, he gets a trade before being taken out as 2 members converge in his location. Bound jiggle peaks on that pillar. Spspector's going to put it in reverse and back away. Live to fight another day. This is good from Cloud9, not taking the dumb fights, not being overzealous, doing damage, staying alive, and making themselves a difficult kill.
They're not overcommitting to anything at the moment, are Cloud9, and it's good. They're listening to each other and full sending it as soon as they've got a little bit of damage onto someone. You can see with Svspector cleaning up that kill, very aware of where the player was going to be hiding bottom middle. But we are all square at 13-13, and maybe this next camouflage could be something that really influences the game for Space Station.
Eco's popped it. He's gonna look to rock and roll with it now. Sab on there, Sceptify's S4 as well. Eco under so much pressure. Sab ups the lift. Sceptify continues to shoot from S4, and Eco just couldn't get anything going.
There was just so many eyes trained on him. Someone was going to notice him. Someone was going to be able to connect with a bullet. And the camo amounts to nothing, but for maybe a little bit of map control off the back of it. There was so much focus on Eco that the rest of SSG were able to kind of position themselves wherever they wanted, and now they have a 2-kill lead, and they're starting to close in to try and surround, to try and trap C9.
Lqgend gets one, continues to keep rolling. He's going to offer support for Bound, but he didn't need it in the end. They don't have the information, it would seem. There's a member in blue. Sceptify is last alive now. They are trapped S1. And Sab goes with the lift, and it might be to his death. He sinks into S1 looking for some cover. He tucks his head between his legs. He unfortunately has to kiss his ass goodbye.
And this is where SSG are deadly, right? This is why they are so good at this game type, is once they do get ahead, once they do get control, they have ruthless aggression, constantly pushing you on spawn, constantly making you turn around to check, see if anyone's behind you. But Sab continues to hit his shots and continues to be a thorn in the side.
Shock rifle for Eco. First shot not good for the head, nor the body, it would seem. Sceptify's going to soar off S4 and straight into the welcoming arms of Eco. Only you're not getting a cuddle, you're getting nothing but death. Shock rifle will fall now over to Sab, and if you want it in anyone's hands, it's him.
Yeah, Cloud9 have done really well to break out of that SSG aggression. And now they've gained a little bit of control, not only with the shock rifle, but it's a good time because Camo's going to be popping as well. See, Sab just needs to watch over, relay information, but someone else needs to be the one to go for the camouflage, really.
Sab's not comfortable on the snipe side. He needs someone watching the cross for him. Otherwise, players will leak through. He's opting to change angles here. Get a better look at that camouflage. But it's almost a tempting fruit that he just can't get. He keeps pinging it for his teammates, but there's no one in a position to go and scoop it up. Lqgend's being a thorn in the side, and this could be the opportunity for Sab to go for the camouflage if he chooses to. Instead, prioritizes the position over towards Loop. And you can tell he wants it. Because what a difference camouflage and shock could be. Eco over towards top yellow ledge will just about evade the headshot. But now Sab has the camouflage. Space Station are ahead by 5. But this could be the time to cut away at that lead.
It was one of those scenarios where it was like, if you want a job done, just do it yourself. Sab was pinging the camo over and over, but he said eventually, screw it, I'll get it myself. And now at Cloud9 are back within 3 kills here. At one point, SSG were up by 8. Cloud9 with the camouflage have a chance to close the gap even further.
StelluR falls. Lqgend could be about to join him and does. Double kill. Perfect killing spree. Medals galore for him. He's been highly decorated in this series already. Bowing down to no shields in the hotel. But he's still got a couple of nights left to stay, it would seem. StelluR down to just a sliver of shields. Prioritizing trying to get information for his team while also staying alive. That plasma pistol was meant for Eco, but it hit StelluR instead. And again, he goes back to the tried and true. Out blue window. Eco did fall. And StelluR's going to try and collapse now, along with Lqgend. Gets the kill, pushes forward, drives forward here, chasing down Sab.
Only up by 2. StelluR also falls, only up by 1. That lead that they started to really command a little bit earlier, suddenly starting to slip through their fingers. And as they get to 40 kills, there's a good chance to jump into a quick listening with Space Station Gaming.
Watch out for camera right there.
He's going down the ramp.
Driver.
Blue truck, Kevin. He's blue truck. Going gas ramp.
Driver camera. I didn't camera Sailor.
Get shot.
U-turn going garbage.
Autumn is sniping. Yeah, we garbage.
Still. I'm once going LR. Top boat, quick. Go.
Go front dip. Grab me. One shot dip. That's one shot dip. One shot top dip. Top gold, kill me. Top gold on you now, Lqgend.
Okay. Top gold. Where's your gun?
Here, down.
I don't know. Doors is up.
Well, we go to a listening when they were ahead. Now suddenly they are down by 3, and Cloud9 on the brink of going 2-0 up here. And SSG, they look a little bit rocked.
Cloud9. This Slayer means so much to them. Momentum is a hell of a drug, and they're trying to ride it out.
5 minutes remain.
Lock in that game too. It would be massive, just to give them that insurance policy that they can drop a game or two. But they're looking to do it here. They're looking to cause that upset. Do what Complexity did to Optic Gaming yesterday. It really has been a tournament for upsets.
Tournament for upsets, a tournament of breaking stat records as well. Remember, Cloud9 haven't won this mapping mode so far this season, but they are only 4 kills away from changing that 0%. And really putting Spacestation potentially to bed. 47 to 43 now. A couple on the board do go in favor of SSG though. This is not done yet. Big kill to make it 48.
It's important now. Cloud9 play this one patiently. They do not throw good money after bad. Do not put yourself in perilous positions. Do not panic. You've got time. Lots of it. Make Spacestation make the mistakes. Sab's down to no shields. That means Spacestation have damage advantage and they can take map control. Camouflage is up.
Yeah, Camo's up. Eco's trying to grab it. If he can, it's an opening. Maybe a lifeline for SSG. But Cloud9 will need to be checking the corners, but Camo has not been grabbed yet. Because SSG know if they step out, it could be danger. They get an opening though, 48-47.
How many times do we see Spacestation in this situation, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory? Cloud9 threw it away. And Spacestation are level.
What did we just see from Lqgend, and by the way, in that kill feed? Cloud9 had that game. But that is why SSG are the reigning champions. They can pluck that game away from you right at the death. And will that be a big shift in momentum now in this series? And will Cloud9 rue that day that they have given up a very advantageous position here in this series?
Heartbreak for Cloud9. For Spacestation, it's business as usual. They'll be looking towards game 3 already, not content with just one win. How good they play, Cloud9, but it's those final moments. That playbook, you've never been in that situation as a team. Playing against one of the big dogs, ahead in the game in the final knock-ins, and they threw it away, Dan.
Yeah, they almost slowed the game down and allowed SSG to come up with a play, to come up with a plan to try and break through. And you can't give SSG that time, you can't give them that freedom. And sadly, even though it was another brilliant game from Cloud9, it all amounts to nothing at the very end. But boy, did SSG need that. If they had gone 0-2 down here, it could have been their tournament life over. Heads would probably start to drop. You'd probably start to think about, oh God, are we about to exit a top 12 at our own blooming tournament? But now at a level 1-1, they can just relax a little bit and start to think about what's up next.
When we talk about momentum, Dan, Cloud9 were riding it after game 1. So close. They had that snatched away in the Slayer. Is that now? Do you think that's their opportunity? Do they take that one on the chin, or do they almost put their heads down and think we were that close, and dwelling over it could be the thing that really kills them here?
I think with the way Cloud9 playing right now, it shouldn't upset them too much. I think they know that they are kind of facing SSG toe-to-toe, and they are matching them in every aspect in the moment. I mean, objectively, they were right there in game 1. In terms of slays, they are definitely matching the pace of SSG. But you do worry about that clutch factor, about that ice that everyone talks about, right? When you've just lost out in those final moments, what happens if you go to a match 5 against SSG? You would always start to think of, oh God, I hope this doesn't happen again. So I do worry a little bit for Cloud9, but at the same time, SSG do not look comfortable. They look rocked. I think that Optic have taken the wind out of their sails here.
I wouldn't mind, you spoke yesterday how when it gets to game 5 situations, how Spacestation were unbeaten in that situation. So,
yeah, well, until today.
Until today, of course. There's always time to throw the rule book and the stat sheets out the window, and that really has been this tournament. That meta change has really shaken up some things. With game 3 in the horizon, Dan, tell me something.
Well, it is an unbeaten mapping mode for SSG. They're 100% win rate on CTF Aquarius. On the side of Cloud9, they're 1-3, but again, you know, changes to the meta, changes to your team as zMannny comes in for Cloud9. And I think SSG will be looking at this one as a must-win. You cannot allow Cloud9 to take the advantage in this series again, because they are clearly riding that momentum. But if SSG can find the same kind of playstyle they had right at the start of the tournament and stop lingering on the fact that they lost that series against Optic, maybe we can see them return to their former glory.
Rocking and rolling in game 3. On board with Eco. As he looks over towards the car side. Over shields up, Spector's down to no shields, tries to pop, fails. Eco pops and locks. He's rocking and rolling, and he's pushing forward.
3 dead. Manny's going to be the last remaining. You can see they are trying to find him. And they finally going to get eyes on him. But now that means spawns are going to be over towards flag, and they can begin to surround things. It's going to be a 4 versus 3 push here.
They've all pushed out towards the fridge side, leaving the flag exposed. But Eco's going to prioritize getting the kills. 3 dead go. Cloud9 once more. Manny off the respawn. Eco just a little bit of a blunder trying to scoop up that flag, and that's going to delay this push and this pull.
Yeah, just minor things that you don't really see often from Spacestation, especially Eco. As now that flag is going nowhere when, okay, it wasn't going to be the best opportunity with the spawners and where they were, but you never really know. Now double for Sceptify. Cloud9 answer back to the early aggression from Spacestation here.
Can they now push forward and start to influence the game themselves? It's all well and good playing defense, but what's in your offensive playbook? What can you do to apply the pressure and put Space Station in some uncomfortable positions? Bound down to no shields. Gets a trade though onto Sab. 3 dead. Svspector will be the last man alive. Fortunately for Cloud9, he is behind enemy lines. He is in the opposing generator. Good enough to get one and stay alive. Keep it pushing, but does eventually fall.
And of course, with the meta changes, SSG were one of the teams that we were a little bit worried about how it would affect them, but day 1, I mean, pool play in general, we were saying, well, it doesn't look like SSG have been affected by the fire rate change. They look absolutely fine. But then suddenly, things aren't looking as comfortable here. They are and were the best team in the world coming into this tournament. And they need to answer back big here in this series if that is to carry on.
Down Dublin back to secure the overshield for his team. Did have the option to pull the flag, but information came his way that they needed help top middle, and he obliged. Svspector and Manny are in big trouble in the back of the base. Not long for the world. Killing spree now for Bound. He can start to move the flag, and he's still got a little bit of overshield to play with.
Yeah, 3 are dead. He's got the support of StelluR as well. This should be a flag cap unless Sceptify goes nuts, because he's going to be behind enemy lines here.
Bound just about evades. Sceptify tosses the flag forward. These next 2 kills are going to be so important. Sceptify's going huge here, but has he done enough? Manny gets the kill. They pull the flag, and now they're going to try and get the return too. Flag sent home. Cloud9 are safe for now.
Sceptify did pull off a madness. That double should never have happened. SSG should have had the lead. But now Cloud9 can look to try and get a counter cap off the back of it here.
SSG just making uncharacteristic mistakes at the moment. Manny's going to give this one up for now. Opt to re-engage at a different time. Trying to make himself a little bit of a difficult task to track down. Recognizing this flag is likely dead. Will he opt to go for the touch once more? Bound is inside bottom middle. Manny tries to go for the touch and succeeds. Keeps this one alive. StelluR and Bound combined though. 3 members down for Cloud9, and here comes the SSG push.
Did they overcommit for that flag? You mentioned it might have been dead, but by just sending yourself, by putting yourself in a vulnerable position, being a player down, it opens things up for SSG to grab that flag, and now surely, and it will be, Spacestation taking the lead.
SSG, like vampires, do not invite them inside your house. They will make you pay, and they take the lead.
How many vampires have you had make you pay? 2 have been invited into the Jersey household.
Bloody suckers.
SSG now can maybe look to command this game as they can settle the nerves a little bit with an early flag cap. 8 minutes still remain though for Cloud9.
Plenty of time to play with. And they've been down the objective before in this series. They go down 3 once more. Legend's got the overshield, which is only going to compound the misery. He drives forward. Manny comes back for more, and that was a mistake. He bit off more than he could chew. Legend prioritizing trying to get the kill. Decides instead to toss it out. Sceptify's going to re-engage. Will that be a mistake with the Frenchman? The answer's no. Sceptify comes out on top.
One of those where he didn't realize he had to reload, otherwise he probably continues to run that flag just to try and do something with your life. Albeit at least he does delay the push out of the base, and now StelluR can look to command the space that he finds himself in.
StelluR gets one. Still being a thorn in the side of Cloud9 here. They know exactly where he is, but shutting him down is a different task. They do eventually get him, but they had to send 2 members his way. A lot of resources just to clear him out. Sometimes that is required. but it's opened up an opportunity for Bound here, who made that kill difficult, but eventually gets the job done. Sceptify, eyes trained on his flag, but still can't take down Bound. Bound wants more.
Yeah, Bound just looking at every single spawn right now, wanting a scrap, wanting to make up for maybe a dud game in the previous. He's on 15 kills already. Cloud9 do eventually shut him down though, and Cloud9 just really need to take some of the map away from SSG. SSG have far too much space to work with.
What can the Frenchman do? The little phenom pulls the flag out, and that's gonna have the hairs in the back of the Cloud9 necks raised as Lqgend gets another one. He really has the ability to be the best player in any lobby at any given time.
I mean, Lqgend just a nuisance at the moment for Cloud9. Just as they try and assert a little bit of dominance, control the map, Lqgend finds a way behind, pulls the flag, and does damage.
Spector down to no shields. Sab too. Both fall. The flag did get sent home though. Lqgend's got the overshield. Cloud9 are just turtling up so much here. Spacestation applying so much pressure, and there's only so much you can take before you break.
2 are dead, they've got an overshield and they've got a flag pull. This should be a cap. SSG are going to go 2-0 up here, and Cloud9 just need to be careful not to give up too much room. SSG fans might have been a little bit worried when Cloud9 took the lead in this series, but SSG have shown really, truly what they are made of here in map number 3.
If you're thinking about the slays, SSG currently sitting on 61, Cloud9 37. It's been one-way traffic for large portions of this game. Cloud9 are just trying to survive. They have not been able to thrive.
Flag doesn't quite go where he wanted it to, so instead StelluR says, well, I'll take it the other way, but sadly there's just too many Cloud9 members here for this to be a successful run. But what it does do is it delays that clock. It gives less time for Cloud9 to get back into the game.
We have seen some monumental comebacks on this map. Optic Gaming versus Quadrant, that was a game to behold. Someone showcased some of the best that Halo has to offer. 3 dead now for SSG. Cloud9 though, they're also down 3 members. Make it unofficial 4 as Sab spawns back in his base. They cannot take control of the map right now.
And Sab's not been able to get as much freedom of the map that he had in previous games as well. As I say that, he's about to get a kill here. 12 and 17 right now. Has been individually incredible so far this series. But when you don't have that freedom to be an individual, when SSG start to find you in 2v1s, they can shut you down easily.
Have SSG just figured Cloud9 out on this map? So far, the results would say absolutely. Manny goes down, tries to get back to his base and control it for his team, but unfortunately for him, Bound was waiting for him. Bound was wise to it. Sab throwing down a couple of denial grenades. They were successful as well. But again, Eco's there looking to get the overshield. Sceptify is gonna try and contest, and is successful with it. Cloud9 almost get the overshield, but they get cut down.
And that's the difficulty with the overshield being top middle now, rather than down at P1. You are so vulnerable when you just think you've been able to get away. Someone's able to rip you off spawn. And that overshield is maybe what Cloud9 need to get back into this game. They haven't really had a true attack on this base where it's looked likely that they would score. There's obviously been a chance where they had a counter pull, but now it's the overshield for Eco, and he's on the hunt.
Descends on the enemy base. Pushing forward then. Manny's on the car side. Eco's trying to scout him out. Doesn't spot him though. Manny is being ever elusive. They have finally looked him and locked him down. And you can see Eco, as soon as he was dead, he felt a lot more rested, a lot more assured in what to do. They've already had Sceptify make a madness. They're not trying to make that same mistake here again. Playing this one so patient, they realize they've got time on their side too.
Yeah, this is a very slow and methodical flag run. It starts with Eco just tossing it out, testing the waters. And he just kept edging it forward, but it could be a dead flag now. Sab's probably going to get the re onto it. But I don't think that matters. I think SSG, that's their game plan now, is keep being aggressive, keep pulling the flag, keep forcing Cloud9 to have an answer. And as for Cloud9, they haven't yet to find a true answer to this game, but maybe now, with 3 down on the side of SSG, Cloud9 can get a pull.
Manny and Spector get a couple more kills. It'll make this an even easier task. Manny providing cover fire, just watching behind his teammate in Sab, who drives this one home. Nobody on SSG seems to be in a position happy to give it up. They're going to instead try and contest for overshield. SSG give this one up, so this one's not over just yet.
That does create an opening now for Cloud9, despite the fact they are being heavily outslayed. You mentioned it, 85 kills to Spacestation, 64 on the side of Cloud9. They have not been in this game in terms of slaying power, but objective efficiency can worm your way back into a game very easily. This overshield could be massive. It's going to be the last overshield of this game.
Cloud9 are taking control in the end game. Very important as well. Have they managed to scoop up that overshield? Or is it still being used as bait on the end of a hook? Spspector gets one. Sceptify, you can see he wants that overshield. Legend's top P though. And he's going to try and contest and make it difficult. zMannny will be there to apply pressure just to mean he can get the kills. And 4 dead go SSG. And Cloud9, with the help of the overshield, will bring this flag home.
Cloud9 out of nowhere are going to make this 2-2. No one is going to be in a position to stop this flag. The overshield protects you. And SSG, who were looking comfortable, they were looking fine, they were looking dandy. They were outslaying Cloud9 incredibly, have suddenly, similarly to previous games, let this one slip through their fingers.
They're looking for more. Sceptify's still got a lot of overshield to play with here. Bound's gonna go down. StelluR's already. He goes the last man alive. He's bottom middle. He's already taken damage. He's going to fall. And Sceptify still has overshield to play with. They've almost got this flag home.
Legend is the last stand, but Legend's also fallen here. StelluR will nade. Maybe the nades can do something, but Cloud9 take the lead with 35 seconds. What a comeback we've witnessed. Can SSG answer back at all?
3 flag caps without reply. Cloud9 are absolutely rolling right now, and they've got to keep Spacestation looking towards their own base.
SSG have been rocked, but Bound maybe looking to try and do something in the base here. Manny's going to challenge, Manny's going to take the fight, but Manny has support. And Cloud9 will shut down this initial push. They just have to hold on for 10 seconds.
StelluR slides in, he throws the flag out. 3 dead though. Legend bottom middle, taking so much damage. Down to a pie chart. Overshield's gonna pop up as well. Sceptify will provide cover fire. 2 members of Cloud9 are on the flag, and Cloud9 take the lead in the series.
And you have to ask yourself, how have SSG allowed that one to slip away from them? Cloud9 take the lead, 2-1. SSG are now 1 map away from being eliminated from their own tournament at top 12.
We talk about objective efficiency time and time again. Spacestation had the kills, 95 of them to be exact, to Cloud9's 83. But they were home and hosed, it seemed at times, and particularly when there was 5 minutes on the clock, it looked like they were almost playing with their food. Well. Didn't Cloud9 come up with a response?
I feel like SSG have fallen victim to that a few times in this tournament already, where they maybe think they're a little bit more comfortable than they are with the clock and the position it is, but you mentioned it, you know, comebacks can happen very quickly with the speed of which flag can transition from one base to another. And Cloud9 just had that momentum behind them. They had the map control, they got the overshields to work alongside it as well. And now sadly for SSG, they are looking down a barrel here, and Cloud9 very much prepared for this next matchup. Just to give you an idea of what's happening in all the matches elsewhere in the elimination bracket as well. You've got Into the Breach losing 2-1 to Sentinels. You've got Quadrant 1-0 up against Pure. You've got Alpha Esports who are losing to Native Gaming 2-1 as well. So many closely contested games here in this elimination bracket. And of course, very important games in the grand scheme of things. They are matches to qualify for the World Championships.
And it really goes to show you with Halo, it's comparing teams and how they match up. It's almost comparing apples and oranges. ITB go to game 5 with FaZe. They almost win that series. And then they find themselves struggling against Sentinels. You just never know what to expect.
I mean, ITB beat Cloud9, right? In their pool play as well. And now Cloud9 are currently up against Spacestation. It really does feel like a game of rock, paper, scissors sometimes with the playstyles that we have of these teams. But it is not over yet for Spacestation Gaming as we move over to Oddball Streets. Now, again, it is another good game type for Spacestation, but they had never lost CTF Aquarius, and then Cloud9 threw another one of those 100% win rates out and really into the trash. Can they do it again? Can they shut down SSG one more time and really delete them out of this tournament?
You've done that thing again that we talk about.
Well, what did we talk about?
You used the word trash. That's not you. I don't like that.
It's an American audience. I feel
don't
like trash
that.
is...
There's people all over the world watching this.
That's
now.
very true.
Don't you conform.
Sorry, they throw it in the rubbish.
That's more like
Is
it.
that better? What do you
Yeah.
say in Ireland?
Bin.
Okay, bin's fine.
Yeah. Well, there's never a dull day in the HCS. There's upsets happening all over the place, all over the venue. Having a look at the head-to-head between Lqgend and Sceptify, two very different players, but two very important keys, two very different cogs in the machine for their teams, Dan.
Yeah, I think that Sceptify, I mean, if you look back at the big plays that he had at the start of the game as well, when SSG were looking to close in on their first flag, and Sceptify is in the base, gets the double kill, stops that flag from being scored, and, you know, had SSG had an extra flag, who knows what the game might have looked like, right? So even though the stats aren't as impressive, it's those individual plays that Sceptify is really showing up on this main stage.
Dan, we're 2 kills away from Spacestation being eliminated from this tournament.
Yep.
They've won game 1 and 3, and they very nearly, you would say they should have won game 2 with how it was set up in the end game. Now, SSG, they have that clutch factor, but for Cloud9 making a pivotal mistake at the end, playing a little bit too slow and passive, they would have won this series convincingly.
It's crazy how closely contested this game is, and I'll put my hands up. I didn't give Cloud9 a chance in this series. I said game 1 might have been close, but they have come out and they have proven that they deserve to be on this main stage, and the team change in zMannny has been excellent for C9 as well. But can they put the final nail in the coffin here against Spacestation, or will they rue that day that they let that StelluR slip through their fingers?
And now for SSG, you look to the experience on the stage. Players who have been in this position time and time again and have come up with a response. They've found the answers and they've iced up to get to a game 5 and then win it. You look at Eco, you look at StelluR. So much experience between the two of them. World Championships won on that stage. Those two are going to be pivotal if they're going to win this series.
And Oddball Streets, I mean, it's going to be a nerve-wracking time for SSG if they allow Cloud9 to take a lead as well. Because, I mean, what we've seen from this series is Cloud9 are not scared of SSG. Some teams maybe play a little bit different because of the speed of which Spacestation might fly at you, but Cloud9 have matched that energy, matched that speed. But this Salt Lake City crowd, this Spacestation crowd, definitely need to get behind their boys here because they need something. They need that extra man behind them that we had last year in 2023 when SSG went on to win that tournament. But now their backs are well and truly against the wall here.
And for Cloud9, just keep playing the way you have. Change nothing. Whatever recipe you've cooked up overnight, it's working for them, Dan.
Yeah, I don't know how long they were preparing that meal, but it's certainly a tasty one. But you want to finish
fresh.
You want to finish every single bite. You don't want to just send any back to the waiter because SSG will be ready. They'll be waiting to pounce. If it does go to a game 5, you start to favor SSG, mainly because of their history in game 5s. If it wasn't for today against Optic, then you would say that SSG, you know, they've got that 100% win rate. They've been amazing in game 5s. But it was an Optic Gaming who came to play today. You talk about a difference from day 1 to day 2. Of course, Dead Zone wasn't very well yesterday, and perhaps that was one of the key reasons as to why we saw Optic's failure. But he's back, he's better, and he sent SSG down into this elimination bracket and into the jaws of Cloud9 right now.
And if you're SSG fans, you'll be saying to yourself, I've seen them do this before. Go down early in a series, but they always come out with an answer. They always get the win, particularly when you're playing at the moment for top 8 in elimination bracket. They would not have seen this coming. Not even that they would be in the elimination bracket to begin with, but down in the series at Cloud9.
I mean, I've been doing the mental gymnastics as well, trying to work out what's happening to SSG, right? They are comfortably ahead in Aquarius flag, and I'm thinking, okay, this is better. You know, SSG, they're going to be 2-1 up, smooth sailing from here, and then suddenly C9 put a flag in, and you're like, oh, yeah, but it's fine. There's only a couple of minutes left. It's only one, but then the momentum continues from C9. And actually what we saw in those 3 flag caps back to back to back from Cloud9 is some of the best passage of play you'll see on Aquarius CTF. Almost flawless with how they approached it. Great domination of the map, great control of the overshield, and actually the execution of the flag pools were great as well.
And the thing about it is, up until there was about 5 minutes left, I don't even think Cloud9 had got members in the enemy base at times. They had one flag pull after all that. zMannny gave up on it in the end. It actually did cost them a flag cap. But up until that 5-minute mark, they had not really posed a threat to SSG, but they found a way in the end.
Well, they can't afford to maybe let this one get away quite that far in oddball, though. It's going to be a little bit different. You don't want to be too far behind because otherwise SSG can probably just play the clock. But fist bumps all around. It looks like the players are ready to get this one going. Can Cloud9 do the unthinkable here and knock Spacestation Gaming out of this tournament at top 12? Or will SSG take us to a Game 5?
Looks at the Cloud9 coach is using the Tamagotchi to time things. That's impressive. Make sure you keep it well fed and watered. Now, as we head into Game 4, Sabinator and Lqgend flashed up on your screens very quickly, and expect them to be ever present in this game and in this series. They will help decide what way this one shakes out. And we do not have long to wait, Dan. Cloud9 just one win away from dumping the hometown heroes out on their faces.
And we've had upsets so far this tournament, but this would be the biggest upset of them all. To be a team that goes from first place to potentially out at top 12 would be such a shame for SSG as well, but Cloud9, oh boy, would they love to be the teams to do that for them. As now Sab. Can Sab find that same form? You think about his start to that CTF Aquarius, and he was a non-factor for so long, but then he comes back into it and starts to get more freedom to play in the way he would want.
Cloud9 just making heads-up plays time and time again. Camouflage is down. It has been scooped up now by Bound. He's going to push forward to get information for his team. Spots out one. It is eventually killed and taken care of. And now you see Cloud9 spawning on the low side. Ball is over towards tower. This is good for SSG. They've got a lot of things on their side now.
Bound just trying to again be a nuisance, but he was called out, he was spotted. And now Cloud9 look to try and collapse, but SSG have positioned themselves well here. It's going to be awkward for Cloud9 to push in. They do get that opening break. And I imagine that ball will be played, but it wasn't actually played into a safe position here. So Cloud9 are going to be able to score some.
SSG's setup was not strong enough. It was made of glass. It was broken quite easily. And that means that the reward for Cloud9 is more ball time, as the play was not successful. The stock rifle is going to have a massive impact. The damage output that it can do, it can really make you pay. And they run straight into that red gun. Sceptify continues to cut down shields. He is eventually taken care of. 3 go down for Cloud9. Neither team can hold this tower set up for now.
StelluR doing some damage though. And the active camo is going to be spawning, so Cloud9 off spawn, that'll be their focus, which will allow SSG to get a little bit more trickle time on this ball, especially alongside the kills that Bound's currently getting.
Shroud screen went down bottom middle from StelluR. That means Lqgend scoops up the camouflage, and he starts to rotate towards Cafe. Bound's gotten a couple of kills, 2 for 1. You'll take that every single day of the week, and twice on a Sunday, I promise you that. Lqgend now in the arcade. As he has eyes trained, 4 members of Cloud9 look to be rotating towards this arcade side. Lqgend get this information for his team. Sab down to no shields. That means his push will be stopped. He cannot make progress on the map because Lqgend will cut him down.
This was a very slow push as well from Cloud9. They were really trying to orchestrate something, but the fact it's come to nothing has given so much time here to SSG. It may even give them the round at this point because Cloud9, they're on staggered spawns. Off the spawn, they are trying to push individually, but that's just going to play into the hands of the setup that SSG currently hold.
Cloud9 were looking at this setup like a Rubik's Cube, staring at it. What way do we twist it? What way do we turn it? And all the while, SSG just got so much time for free. Lqgend's going to try and stay alive in PD, make himself a very difficult kill. Sab's going to step in, get his shields taken away. It's very important that Sab stays alive here and stays on the map, and he does.
Lqgend's done a lot of damage here, though, and he called it out. The rest of SSG will be able to hunt on in. zMannny and Svspector go down. And it's going to be more control now for SSG, arguably more ball time here, because Sab also falls. This should be the round, but no ball resets. That's a chance for a C9 hit.
Just delays the ball time. zManny's going to try and stop StelluR from getting his hands on it, but 5 of the freshest shots you're likely to see this side of the streets will take care of business. 3 go down for Cloud9 once more. Bound had the ball for a moment, but has to drop it as Sab applies that pressure.
I mean, this was round over if that ball doesn't reset, I'm going to be honest. So Cloud9, it's a lifeline for them, and they are taking it. They steal that ball away, and they're going to try and get it over towards Tram, but StelluR's such a nuisance. Just doesn't miss, neither does Lqgend. Sends him home. Plenty of time left on the clock for Cloud9, but of course, SSG so close to securing this round.
Mistakes will be at a premium for Cloud9, and they continue to get their numbers cut away at. Camouflage is up, and that could just be enough to secure this ball for the team. SSG has got it towards Tram now. He's got over towards his heaven position with only 5 seconds left. SSG will take round 1.
And the SSG fans, it gives them something to cheer about. Finally. And boy, did they need something, but it is only the first round. Will we see SSG go off the back of this and take us to a game 5? Because that was very comfortable, Shurs. Cloud9 just took a little bit too long with their pushes.
The SSG fans find their voice. Starting to make a little bit of noise, a little bit of ruckus. Make it more uncomfortable for Cloud9. We don't talk about it.
I think if Cloud9 learned anything from that previous, it was that they can't afford to be thinking about their pushes too much. Maybe just need to trust in their ability in their gunfights a little bit more. Because as soon as they tried to derive some sort of plan, SSG were able to counter it, but this time maybe Cloud9 could be the ones to set up.
And C9 will be hoping they've lured Spacestation to a false sense of security, and perhaps they'll take their eye off the prize once again. With how easy round 1 was, can they make it more difficult task of it this time? That's going to help. Spspector gets 2, a beautiful flank. StelluR's going to be weak from that fight. He will fall, so 3 dead now. Bounds alive on the B steps, but Spspector's going to throw the ball inside and look to provide cover fire for his teammate. Now they can start to score again.
Good from Spspector as well. A lot of players would have probably just carried that ball into Tram and left bound there to take the fight with a teammate, but he wanted to ensure they get the kill, to get the control, and have the extra player on the map. But Sab's just fallen, as is Lqgend, so it's a 3 versus 3.
Beautiful rotation here. Knows exactly where the pressure's coming from. Has to drop it, put some damage down, does so successfully. 3 dead for SSG. Lqgend over towards the arcade, trying to cut this ball off. Doesn't know Spspector's there, but he got a trade. Numbers still favor Cloud9.
So this is far better now from Cloud9. They're actually taking the game to Spacestation, saying, look, we want you to be the team to try and break us instead. And SSG at the moment have just been kind of throwing themselves in one by one. They're StelluR going to be the next one, maybe, as part of that equation. But they did force a play ball, so I guess it's some sort of success here for SSG, and they may be able to get a camo off the back of it too. Lqgend's going to pop that into his chest. So a successful break from Spacestation Gaming.
zMannny had done so much damage there. The 3 players. StelluR got it first, then Lqgend over towards the caution area, and then managed to get the kill inside Tram as well. And you can see he was just too early for that camouflage. And how quickly things can change. Momentum can shift. Bound will get this ball inside. Spspector couldn't get the perfect shots that he needed, that he required, that Cloud9 wanted. But this setup isn't comfortable, and Spacestation have to drop the ball and clear house before they can score.
Yeah, SSG didn't actually get the ball inside, bound in a sheer panic of trying to get away, and that might have been the nade that blew the ball down here as Spspector puts a double on the board, 3 are dead. And it's gonna be a triple. Cloud9 in control, have the ball. And it just seems like they need to go behind to get that kick up the backside, and then they find their voice, then they find their rhythm. And Spspector with the red gun has done real damage to this lobby.
Red gun all out of ammunition now.
Oh,
the bandit's out of ammunition. Spspector's used everything in his arsenal at that stage. Just didn't have the time to reload the weapon. Sab can play this ball if the pressure gets a little bit too hot in the kitchen. The SSG push is going to come up the stairs. And numbers do not favor Cloud9. That ball has been played out towards the front base. Bound's going to scoop it up. No, he's not. He's going to get taken care of.
Yeah, that's really good again from Spspector as the last remaining player to ensure that you delay that ball from being brought into Tram, from being set up as zMannny tries to Superman punch, but sadly is not successful. And actually, it's team nades coming in here for SSG as they are 60 points behind. Still plenty of time, so they don't have to worry, but that is far better from Cloud9. A great setup to give them the lead here.
A lot of work to do. The camouflage to contest as well. Numbers even on the map, at least they were for a moment. This should mean camouflage goes in Cloud9's favor. StelluR recognizes that, drops the ball, and gets out of dodge, wants to be an influence elsewhere. Means he gives up the ball, free time now for Cloud9, and they can set up and try and stop the push.
Well, Sab really wanted to get his camo back there and was just hoping that the shots weren't hit. And he's rewarded with that plate. Might be able to pick up a couple here, but it's going to be 3 members of SSG all facing him at the same time, and Sab's just trying to stay alive, but cannot do so.
Legend was like a bloody Terminator coming out of Tram there. Leave me alone. I don't want the fight. The Frenchman didn't care.
Well, I think SSG know that this round is so important. They can't allow Cloud9 to get back into it, and they maybe sense that there's an opening here because they've done far better at breaking their setup towards Tram. They just need one of the ideal setups themselves. But Cloud9 are being slippery at the moment. They are delaying that fact. They are delaying that chance for SSG to set up by just tossing that ball out time and time again.
It's important they don't get overzealous and make mistakes. SSG will punish if you start to do that. You're playing this one perfectly, and as time starts to tick away, it only benefits your cause. Make them work hard for it. If they're gonna win this round, make them do it the hard way. StelluR's got his hands on the ball, and he's brought it inside Tram. But Cloud9 do have the numbers if they can push forward and make the most of it.
We are dead even in Slays after these 2 rounds, but will Cloud9 come out on top here in round number 2 to take us to a third? Great shots, but it's going to be a good answer back from Spacestation. They are trying to position themselves in a way where this ball can actually be far more difficult for Cloud9 to get hold of, and 4 dead for C9, so SSG will get that setup they've been looking for.
StelluR was inside Tram, throwing hooks and uppercuts. Got himself a double kill. Camouflage about to pop. Players over towards Arcade. Bound has support, and his teammate is down to no shields. Grenades just flush him out. Eco's being a difficult kill, but he's not long left for this world. He would have desperately wanted to get a trade. It was not on the cards. Camouflage was scooped up by StelluR, but did he manage to get the pop?
3 were dead. Legend, the last remaining player, and he knows he's got to fight tooth and nail here to survive and to delay, and what he does do is spot out that camouflage, but still ball time here for Cloud9. It was a far better break. Cloud9 so much quicker in this round at making that push, and they didn't delay. They didn't allow SSG the time.
3 dead for C9. And that 70-point lead they had, it's completely evaporated. As Spacestation now take the lead in this round and are knocking on the door to send us to a shootout of a Game 5.
SSG chants begin to echo around the arena here, but it is not over yet. Cloud9, 3 dead, 4 dead, it might be over now. As SSG lock down Tram, lock down the kills, and lock down this ball.
Cloud9 will not be able to get close enough to this ball, and Bound has the most comfortable job in the world, keeping this ball safe, nursing it into a Game 5. Spacestation, send us to that shootout.
And it looked maybe a little bit nervy at times during round 2. But SSG again demonstrated their experience. And it really did shine when they finally got that Tram set up and were able to delete Cloud9 members time and time again. As for C9, it's going to have to be a Game 5 Slayer if they want to stay alive in this tournament and send Spacestation home. Has this series gone on too long for their chance?
Have they just left the door too ajar for Spacestation? Dan, time and time again, we speak about the big dogs in these big games. They, more often than not, they get the win. We spoke about Game 5s, how they were unbeaten up until that Optic game. But has that given Cloud9 some hope maybe that we can do it? They've been so competitive in this series. They should have won it by now. But will those mistakes come back to bite them? Will they rue the things that they didn't do?
Well, I think that Cloud9 at least can go off the back of the Slayer performance they had in Game 2, the comeback, and say, all right, we just need to not let this happen again. We were up, we had this game. Let's make sure we learn from our mistakes and shut down SSG if we are ahead by 4 or 5 going into those final moments. Just to give you an update was what's happening around the arena as well with our other elimination brackets. Native Gaming have taken down Alpha Esports 3-1, so it was a fairy tale ride for Alpha Esports from open bracket into elimination bracket, but they will fall and bow at top 12. So Native Gaming qualify into the top 8 and will, of course, get that spot at the World Championship. What a year, what a season it's been, an up and down season for Native Gaming, but they will secure that spot that they have so desperately been looking for.
I want to give huge amounts of praise to Alpha Esports. They were on track to be the best placing LATAM team we have ever seen. Beating Sentinels, we had the hope that they could be that team. That they represent LATAM all the time. But they fall short to Native after the great work, the wonderful work that they've done early this morning. They just ran out of gas, ran out of steam. And Native Gaming, they get the win. So the story and the victory goes their way.
Still waiting for confirmation on other games at the moment. Quadrant are currently 2-0 up against Pure, which would be a massive result for Quadrant. And Into the Breach are currently losing to Sentinels 2-1. So some massive matches happening elsewhere. But of course, we are heading into a Game 5 here between SSG and Cloud9. And if you think to now SSG, right, the mindset of these players, they take a little bathroom break just to reset. They probably were thinking, could this be it going into match 4, right? Could this be us out of this tournament? But now they've been given a lifeline back in, and you can't pass up this opportunity here in Game 5.
And just what is it that makes Spacestation, Optic and FaZe so good in these Game 5 situations? When you're on the brink of elimination, it's almost like if you don't believe you will lose, you just won't.
Experience, lack of nerves, being there before, not being scared of also what happens in the results. Because I feel like if you are one of those teams that's a little bit lower down and maybe haven't been in those areas before, or you have experienced it before, you start to think about the what ifs. You start to think about the repercussions of what happens afterwards if you are eliminated that stage. Is there a team change? Do you get dropped? Is your all going to stick with you? All these things start to flood your brain. I've been there back when I used to play and I used to worry. Instead, you should be thinking about what happens if we win this game. How far can we go? How good we are. Trust in yourself. Believe in yourself. It was something that Bound said on the main stage yesterday, that we just know that no matter where we are in the game, how far we are behind, we trust that we can get back in, and they don't ever believe that they are going to lose.
And for Cloud9, they've pushed so far, they've played so well, but as it stands, there's been no reward for the work that they've put in. They are also now on the brink of elimination, and their world's spot is in question now. You did not want to run up against an Optic Gaming or a Spacestation. They have complexity to thank for that. But now that they find themselves in this situation, they're just getting on with it. They're trying to cause that upset down.
Have these Spartans had a scrap yet? Because I'm glad they're all friends. That's all I'm going to say. Because it could be very controversial down at the front stage if things got ugly. But it looks like they're all supporting the same team, all behind Spacestation. No Cloud9 fans amongst the Spartans, but they do look fantastic, by the way. Shout out to them. Unbelievable what people are able to do with their creations nowadays. But can they spur on Spacestation here in map number 5? Or will we have a pretty disappointed crowd for the rest of the weekend? Well, there'll be some of the crowd that'll be excited about it, though, because, I mean, the green wall was pretty loud earlier. It was incredible to hear Optic versus SSG in the previous matchup. By the way, getting confirmation in my ear that Quadrant have just beaten Pure 3-0. After the incredible efforts of Pure back in Atlanta and the awful tournament that Quadrant have, they've come back, they've found themselves into the top 8, they've guaranteed themselves at Worlds, and they now have a duel with Native Gaming for top 6 in that elimination bracket.
What is happening in this tournament, Dan? With the way Quadrant were playing yesterday, we were struggling to see where they would find the win, where they'd find their feet. It has been struggle all tournament long for them, but they've turned up today on Saturday when it's mattered most.
Well, Quadrant get the job done against Pure. But who is going to get the job done here as the players return to the main stage? They've had their break, they've had the mental reset, a chance to have a little chinwag in the back and discuss about any final plans as we head into Game 5. And it is going to be StelluR Livefire. And just looking at those Game 5 records, there was a time when SSG was at 100% until today when they lost to Optic Gaming. As for C9, it's 0-4. They have not won a Game 5 all season long. But of course, new meta, new players, new team at this point for C9. Can they do it on StelluR Livefire here? Their record isn't great, Jersey. A 28% win rate across the board, whereas StelluR Livefire for SSG is an 85% win rate. But again, we've thrown the stats out of the window quite a few times so far this tournament.
I mean, just this series alone, right? When we were talking about it with Lottie and Tony at the start, we said, well, this series looks very bleak for Cloud9 because games 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all seem to favor them in win percentages, kills, deaths, all the good stuff. But they're still in this series in Game 5, and maybe that's proof enough that they can go on and get the job done.
Yeah, I think it was that CTF Aquarius that was really the one that blindsided us, because We've seen so much success from SSG on that map and mode, but for that final comeback, it really was something special from Cloud9. But I think the stats paint that picture. It shows how impressive a victory it was. Here's the confirmation we were speaking about earlier. Quadrant 3-0 against Pure. And that means that the European boys will definitely be at Worlds. I mean, likelihood is they would have been there anyway with the amount of points they've been able to accumulate across the board. But what's important is they'll be seeded. They'll be up there in the top 8. They'll be in that pool play. And they will be looking comfortable and ready for the World Championship.
Yeah, because I think qualifying is one thing, but it's almost the complexion around how you qualify. If you do it through points, it doesn't have the same kind of prestige and shine as if you earn it through this tournament, and they have done it. And it looks as though it was last shot and Glory's having a hell of a back and forth to try and get the job done there. But Glory's the Irishman doing us proud, getting it nice and successful for himself. But as we turn our attention back to this Game 5 shootout, Cloud9 trying to cause that upset. Spacestation Gaming not looking to go out too early. We have it all to do here, and we have it all to figure out.
Will this be a one-sided affair? Will either team be able to dominate, or will we get one of those close matchups that everyone is desperate to see? I mean, I would love to see a 49-49 and all decided with one final push, but maybe I'm asking a little bit too much. I mean, live fire is going to be a beautiful watch because, of course, that sniper rifle is going to come into play, and there's plenty of players on this main stage that can turn up and make a difference.
I think you have me dreaming now. 49-49, standoff, stalemate. One player in either team has the sniper rifle to make the difference. What a viewing experience that would be for everyone here and everyone at home as well. But so much experience on that stage. Of course on SSG, but Cloud9 are not without their experienced players. Spspector, for one, he's been there and he's done that. He's had many accolades across Halo 5, and he finds himself seeing a little bit more success now in Infinite, and maybe he has found a team, Dan, that fits him well.
Also hearing another game has gone to Game 5. Sentinels versus ITB is now in Game 5 as well. When we talk about those Worlds qualification spots, when we talk about upsets, can ITB take down Sentinels? And it's hard to call that an upset, right? I mean, it's a different story for ITB. They came in as a top 6 seed, as did Sentinels, but Sentinels drop early. They had an awful pool play performance, but now they're coming back and have a chance to shut down ITB, and we'll have to see how that one goes. Of course, all games are streamed. We have 4 live streams that are available to you, but right here on the main stage, it's SSG, it's Cloud9, it's Game 5, it's live fire StelluR.
We've got unfinished business here on the main stage. One team is going home after this, and neither one of them seem to deserve it. Both have been playing out of their minds, but such is tournament play. The cream always rises to the top, and everyone else gets left in the dust. We're underway here, folks.
Bound is a player I want to keep an eye on. He is in the top 3 ranked players on StelluR live fire. Averages around 14 kills per game when it comes to this mapping mode. And if he can play anywhere near that, it could be curtains for Cloud9.
After the opening break, 3 down for Cloud9. And they know exactly where Sab is. He desperately tries to get away. He manages to get one before getting taken down. So if you're doing your insurance things and you're filling that out, you're saying, oh, well, you made the best of a bad situation. Camouflage, though. Could be about to make things much worse for zMannny and Cloud9. That's one thing you've got to worry about here for C9. If Spacestation get a 4, 5, 6 kill lead, they might not look back. They might not slow down.
And I mean, I would agree with you, and that's usually how it goes with Spacestation, but with how today's been going, with how this series has been going, Cloud9 have just somehow been able to find their way back into the game when you least expect it. But I just wonder if we do get to these later stages, right? If we do get to a very closely contested final moment, will Cloud9 feel the same pressure they felt in that Game 2 when they were up, they were close to winning, and SSG were able to snatch it away from them?
Lqgend then with the wig wobbler. Seems to be rotating almost away from C9, waiting for information from his team. He will now head over top middle. It's completely clear. Nobody on C9 is willing to peek. Nobody wants to poke. That's how much respect they're giving the Frenchman with the wig wobbler here.
I think he's realized that they know where he is, so he's going to reposition yet again. Also wants to try and help Bound here, but now you have to hit your shots. Sadly, unable to do so, and Cloud9 take down 2 members of SSG. Not only do they get a little bit of map control, but they're rewarded with 2 bullets in this sniper. But Sab says, I don't need it just yet.
Legend's in green, and he's in trouble. Bound's gonna slide forward, straight into the fist of Sab. And it's been an iron fist all series long. He has not faltered against one of the big dogs. He's trying to prove that his bark is just as bad as his bite. And you spoke about the start of the series and how you wanted to hear Cloud9's comms being hectic, with all being loud and proud. But we have an opportunity to be a fly on the wall. Let's have a listening with Cloud9.
Camera. I'm gonna cut the tires. Tires. Top A. Camera, one shot. Trying to be cuts. One.
I'm gonna go Keter, bro.
Okay.
He's one in, Keter.
Come
I stop. No, reset.
Yo, you wanna go right? Should we go right?
Yes, right, and then
One second.
Actually, no.
Snipe in 10.
Yeah, we're
Let me get snipe.
Let
him repost for it.
One's back.
On it, guys. On it. Bound.
Did he drop?
No.
Yes, you want Keter.
A plat 2, guys. A plat 2.
Walk on the side.
One cuts. Legend cuts.
Looking cuts. Reset.
That one's green. 2 A plat.
Okay.
I have right. Nothing right. There's nothing right. It's top green.
That's all
Come on. Both weak.
Yeah, I see that. I'm looking.
One, two guys. Got one.
I'm behind him. Live.
Watch out. I couldn't.
Nice. Yellow, I'm taping you? Or no.
I don't know.
I'm behind me. I'm gonna die.
Live. Go for back green.
Okay. I'm about to go top.
Watch out, guys.
Look over you. Yo, I'm gonna push up cuts.
Hey, bye. Sees me. Shoot down. Gonna be top cuts.
Right there.
Watch top cuts.
Make Go back.
Top cuts. Max damage. One slice. He was top cuts. To your left.
Yeah, I'm living.
He's top in the hole. He's going back to cuts. Hey, bye. Skip me.
Something very telling is when they get a couple of kills, Dan, they say reset. They're almost employing guerrilla warfare tactics. Hit a lane, get kills, get rewards, but then retreat.
But you can hear it in their comms. The belief, how they're stressing every single kill, every single movement of SSG. Cloud9 are very much in this game. It was a great opening break from SSG, but now Cloud9, they're able to gain a little bit of control. But they're only up by 1. And this one at the moment has been a tug of war between the two. 25-25, we're dead even.
That's always the concern when you're playing well against a team like SSG. As soon as you start to think, oh, hang on a minute, we could actually win this thing, you make a mistake or two and they're right back in it. And SSG take the lead now. Do Cloud9 have a response to keep themselves not only in the Slayer, but can they threaten to take the lead again?
Sceptify just looking to try and make a difference from the low ground here, and actually is going to catch StelluR from behind. Really good awareness of where SSG were going to be, and again, it's because he's listening to the call-outs from the rest of the squad. It's a slender lead. Camouflage is about to pop, and it looks like StelluR's going to be there waiting to grab it. Can he get away?
He's managed to get away. Thrown in a couple of grenades. He wants that kill. Has to settle for a trade, and that's actually more beneficial for Cloud9 than it ever could have been for SSG.
Yeah, I bet he wished he could have plasma grenades there or even a frag. Would have made the difference, perhaps could have picked up a double. Bound, though, now starting to get involved. You know what I said, an average of 14 kills, where he's already up to 13. Looking to try and break that average and be the difference maker for Spacestation. There's just something about this map on Slayer that Bound just flies around, challenges every single fight, and everyone fears him when he takes on the 1v1.
Bound, beautiful bit of movement. Using the repulsor just to shape himself up towards top middle, cut off a lane, maybe over towards cuts. Expecting a push from Cloud9. And this is what you worry about, because all of a sudden Cloud9 are being put in a vice, being put in a blender. And they've got to make sure they're tough enough for it.
The fans trying their best to get behind Spacestation here as they have the lead. But again, it's only by 1. Lqgend has the wig wobbler once more. And you can see Spacestation want to take advantage of the position that C9 are in right now. They can start to close around them, start to pinch them here. And they're looking to try and get several kills to take a significant lead.
Oh! Lqgend's popping off right when you need him to. Huge damage done. Sniper rifle remains in Spacestation's control. Svspector now moving towards Nest, and he could be Bound's latest victim.
Bound says, I do not want to be exiting this tournament at this stage. I still have plenty more to offer. Here at the Space Station Major, they're up by 3. 11 more kills required, and Bound has all the tools he could want to take his team to victory here.
All the tools in the shed. What's it going to require? We wanted a standoff. We wanted a stalemate. When you're finding openings like that, that's all you need.
Who's going to be the next victim? Sceptify just about survives alongside Sab. They work together to shut down Bound. That's what you have to do here. He's on 16 kills. Cloud9 are still in this. Cloud9 are very much still in this. They're only one behind now, and they've just grabbed the camo as well. And this one may just come down to the wire, but this is where the experience might just kick in. Those game 5s that have eluded Cloud9 so many times, but SSG just seem to clutch up when they need it.
Svspector's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. Bound tries to drop down, but Svspector expected it now. 1 kill, the difference. 1 mistake could be the difference. Svspector getting more information. His camouflage has now dissipated. Lqgend towards the nest. Bound is there too. That duo continues to find results.
Bound's looking to destroy those averages. Destroy Cloud9 and send his team 1 step further in this tournament. As a reminder, loser goes home. Winner guarantees their spot at the World Championships and guarantees their chance to continue in this tournament. 5 more kills required for SSG. 6 more for Cloud9, and we wanted it. We wanted this close game. We wanted a 49-49. Well, we are bloody close.
It's a nail-biter. Bound, 19 kills. Nobody on his team even reaching double digits at the moment. What an influence he is having, trying to drag his team forward. But we're all tied up. He continues to push forward and take damage whilst also putting some down. But we're still tied. 46 apiece.
47, 46, 47 all now. But Cloud9 continue to find a way, continue to find the damage, and they are once again 2 kills away from winning a Slayer. Will they let this one slip through their fingers like they did in game number 2 earlier?
Cloud9 cannot afford to falter here. zMannny has passed the sniper rifle over to Sceptify. Thus the responsibility now rests on his shoulders to be the difference. Spacestation are aware of this, not wanting to give away a pixel, trying to get as much information as they can, whilst also minimalizing the risks that they take. Bound continues to jiggle peek. zManny's going to try and capitalize on the damage bottom middle.
Doesn't quite get the nade though. And SSG, they're trying to make a play. How many times have we seen this throughout the history of the HCS? Where SSG are down, SSG are close, but then they make a play call. Camo's now come up. Cloud9 are backing off. They are waiting. They are hoping that SSG will just walk into their crosshairs here.
Who's got the stones then? What are you made of? Camouflage is up, and everybody on SSG have rotated towards sandbags. They're willing to give this one up, but Sceptify and Cloud9 have not been brave enough to take the opportunity. Lqgend's got camouflage. All 3 members of SSG, they make it happen again. They win the game 5.
Somehow, someway, SSG always find a way through. And for Cloud9, they were so close to taking down the current reigning champions in their hometown. But SSG again demonstrate that experience, that game 5 ice, as they send Cloud9 packing. And they will live to fight another day.
Cloud9 looking crestfallen, and with good reason. They were not the favorites in that series. They're playing against the champions. And they took them to the death, Dan, but came up short.
And you have to give the credit to Cloud9. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't give them a chance in this series. You heard what I said.
I don't think anybody did.
I don't think many would have. And they may be disappointed right now, but they can leave this tournament with their heads very high in the air. And I'm sure we will be seeing their faces again when the World Championships come round, because sure, they haven't got the guaranteed qualification, but, you know, with points and with experience, they will have that opportunity to still get into the World Championships, and I'm sure we'll see them in Seattle, or at least some form of it. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they should change anything after a performance like that. It is nothing to be ashamed of to be exiting the tournament after losing to the current champions.
I mean, their tournament might not even be over. They might have the LCQ to play after this with the way it's all shaking out. But Dan, what a series, and what a way to shake it out. And we still have one of the big dogs in the tournament.
Well, that was quite the dramatic series, and one player who kept his calm the whole way through was StelluR. Guy, take it away.